this is one of my favorites to talk about because as an American, we grew up with this constant drumbeat of telling us about what a great country America is because it's so free and because we have all this freedom and so forth. This is the ultimate example of a misconception. America is the land of the free. It's completely meaningless. I mean, ask an American, what do you even mean? What do you mean by freedom? What do you mean by the freedom that you have that other people don't have? It's like saying America is the best country because we have the color green. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, you may have health care in your country, you may have efficient public transportation in your country, but at least in America, we have the color green. The average American citizen has less freedom than any random villager in Indonesia or in Ghana or in any other part of the global south. What freedom are you even talking about? I mean, most Americans, the overwhelming majority of Americans, as we've been talking about when we were talking about the economy, and you can't separate the economy and the economic standard of living and quality of life of the people, you can't separate that from their freedom. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. For most Americans, if they miss even one paycheck, they're going to be thrown out onto the street. That's the reality. You don't have just one master in America in terms of your slavery. We were talking about debt slavery, wage slavery, and so on. Your employer is your master. Your student loan officer is your master. Your landlord is your master. The credit card bureau is your master. Your mortgage loan officer is your master. Your insurance adjuster, your HMO, the IRS, your credit card company, they're all your masters. In America, you're a slave with many masters. And they all have their chains on you, and they all have their own lash that they can use on your back. So what freedom do you have? You have more laws in America and more regulations in America than any other country in the world. The average American's daily life is governed or influenced or restricted or in one way or another determined literally by tens of thousands of laws and regulations. Upwards of 50,000 to 100,000 rules at the municipal level, the state level, the federal level, not to mention the rules in your own company that you work for, whatever rules that your employer imposes upon you. This is like scaffolding around the daily routine and activities of the American people, of any average American citizen. Most of these rules actually only exist, no matter what they tell you, they'll tell you that these rules all exist to make the society better and to protect you and to make you safe and so on. But the truth of the matter is, and any American who's listening knows this to be true by your own experience, that these rules only exist for the purpose of generating revenue for the enforcing body of those rules through the imposition of fines and fees and so forth. That's the real purpose behind most of these. It's not health and safety and security and efficiency or what have you. It's just to make money off of you. And you have no say in America, in your great democratic country. You have no say in how any of that money is spent. Any of that money that they collect from you, that they oblige you to pay, you have no say in how any of that money is spent. You don't decide what anyone who collects that money, you have no say in what they do with that money. So I'm asking, what freedom do you have? What freedom do you have that's so special and so unique? None. Honestly, none. Zero. There are no freedoms that you have in the West, in America, that are not available elsewhere. And there is freedom elsewhere that you do not have in America. But they tell you all the time about how free you are, so that by implication, you will assume that every other country in the world is an oppressive tyranny and no one is able to do anything. And then, of course, you have the fact that the overwhelming majority of Americans never leave that country, so they don't even know what it's like in any other country. Western civilization, so-called civilization, never did actually believe in freedom as the highest value. That's the reality that they don't even want you to know about. They never did believe in freedom as the highest value. This is just something that they tell you. It's just part of the sales pitch to convince you about how wonderful your society is. I mean, if you go back to the alleged philosophical roots of Western so-called civilization, to ancient Greece, and so on, these philosophers that they always claim as their own and as their inspiration, Aristotle didn't believe in this. Plato didn't believe in this. The real foundation of Western belief has always been more authoritarian and classist than it was ever liberal and democratic.